This is Matthew Ursua here. It's an interesting situation, actually. I had asked a few of my old friends in the media to hook me up with the same celebrity, net worth, height, weight. Is he dating this person, like Bridget and Amada, the way they do, especially when we're in poor industries like I am? I'm not worth $7 or $8 million, but it's more like psychic income. And I told them, go ahead and hook me up with that. And for the first time in my life, I was never getting calls back from them. And I'm the kind of guy that has some relevant news tips. And I chat with people in the Hawaii news industry about the direction of the industry. But also, I'm not getting a call back from them. And it's just like, well, let's hook you up with a felony. Sometimes I wonder if it's actually them that did it because the world is going this way. Too many people are thinking that way, but you're thinking that way. And that's why it's absolutely necessary that I be earning the income, that I be one of these people that have fast enough mental processing not to have to be making these videos like Shinji Joss to you, one of these people that before plastic surgery. By the way, one of my latest conspiracy theories, you look at this girl's TikTok page, conspiracy theory is a necessary word to use. The conspiracy is not a good thing, not a bad thing. It's a good thing, not a bad thing. It shows the worst human beings are capable of. It shows the biggest dreams at the core of our souls. But that's why I think it's really valuable. That's why I have a website, and it's called For Dream Reasons. But this this woman's waltzing by my crown jewel felony accuser, and electronic stalking with electronic. Well, this is stuff she puts out there in public for people to see, and she's a public figure too, by the way, with a billboard and in the industry and big name. She talks about family was in there for 50 years, so big name family. I hate to say, and I don't hate to say, because this is exactly the misunderstanding, is you're a public figure and you're totally fair game, just like I am, and we have to deal with that. Just like this Copycat Courtney there in Honolulu, Hawaii, that's filed this. But I gotta say this, I gotta be able to afford plastic surgery. There's one waltzing by, and I may be wrong. I don't have time to look into these people individually. We're coming to you, by the way, from Petco Park here, home of the San Diego Padres in downtown San Diego. If you guys want to take a look at that. And so we investigate. This beautiful woman comes waltzing by. It looks like a Trudy Robertson that had plastic surgery. And yes, the reason we look into these things is because when you sink to the level of abusing the justice system, what these people are trying to do is teach you a lesson. You belong there, we're here. You belong there, we're here. No, I'm a total prince. I'm just going to come right out and say that the things I think about are my plastic surgery, my public appearances, and the same way that when these police officers in Honolulu wheelchaired me some years ago when I was there by making me think I'm not someone that can do anything and be anything, by saying there's nothing you can't do and can't be. And the truth is, I am. There's no limitations to my mind, there's no limitations to my body, especially someone that's on a later in life development track. Right? So, and really, it was giving me dementia. The voices I was hearing through the window were real things. I have theorized maybe it was voice to skull, that no matter where I am, though it's like you should not own a home. You should never have a rent a home. You should be homeless. Anytime I was in a place, no matter where I was, there were voices coming through the walls. If I was starting to sleep, they're interfering with my REM sleep, and it was like I would write these stories about this is why I'm talking this way now, with this slow mental processing, this dementia, because I'm not around beauty. I'm not doing my own kind of pageantry where I have board positions where I'm wearing a suit, and it makes me sick that I'm not wearing a suit, actually. But that's why I love real estate sales. I've talked about the culture of it, but you go into anywhere I was, any state I was in, the reason that the voices were coming through the walls that way is because they were trying to tell me you shouldn't own a home, you shouldn't rent a home, you shouldn't have that kind of control or title to enjoy. And that's a big issue for me. So we've relocated here. We're going to be going down. In fact, we're making the right on G Street, left rather on G Street, just by chance, going down of all streets, downtown San Diego, 5th Avenue. We talk about gas lamp quarter, the language of narcissism. People have a problem with narcissism. I run on narcissism, NAR, like National Association of Realtors, ism, narcissism. But you come through a place like this, gas lamping, the language of San Diego, right? But so I was talking about how these voices started to come through walls that were saying things that were wheelchairing my real estate knowledge, wheelchairing as if there's not enough money in the economy for me to have the multi-million-dollar net worth necessary by earning commission checks soon enough to have the quality of life that I need and get away from these ugly people, get away from these welfare people. You can't blame these people if they're the ones that hired these agents to come through the wall to wheelchair me, if they're using crab bucket mentality. But I've never used crab bucket mentality. I've never tried to hold other people back into my state of misery. I'm the kind of person that says, you want to escape this? Help me escape too. I'm the kind of person that said, I want to map out the pathway to being a capitalist and put every human being on it, no matter how old they are, because what you're missing out on if you're not a billionaire in today's society is just way too much. I mean, the thought of being able to sexually awaken at the age of 14 or 15, which by the way is evolutionarily normal, to me, I think, and to do it in a way where you get away from society with the anti-human repro morality, right, where you say don't mate in your teens, to get away from it by getting on a CRJ, maybe even if you're poorer. Being poor family means you don't get your own CRJ. Your family doesn't own 5 CRJs or ERJs that fly out of regional airports like North Las Vegas, or here in San Diego is Gillespie Field in Santee, right? You don't have 5 CRJs all across the country, but you may be able to charter one, and this is a common thing people like to do. I don't think it's cost effective. I don't think it's cost effective at all. It's a waste of money because they just want to say, oh, I flew on a private jet. I flew a private jet. It's not technically a private jet. It's not your private jet. But they're making a lot of money off it from these rich family kids, as I call them, rich family kids. But I want to actually be a rich family. So if you're going to pay for private jet, charter. But that's what the poor family isn't go to jail. Poor family is you're going to have to share with a couple friends the same way that you share an Uber to Fifth Avenue to go to the bars here. This is where these opportunities you just step into by chance. You have to go down there to that area because security is kicking you out, as I'm talking about, of all things, enjoying title. This is the value of private property ownership, and the value of, even if you're not an owner, if you're paying a lease payment, they can't come in and fuck with you if you're paying to have that temporarily there. And so you're going down there now. This is why I have dementia now, is because they wheelchaired me. I mean, if anyone deserves to be wheelchaired that way, it's Joe Biden, because he's a Democrat. I'm not a Democrat. Weirdly, if you look at Donald Trump, I mean, that's why I had a lot of problems with him at the beginning, and it was a sad thing. I had no choice but kind of come around, because you saw Ted Cruz, how sad. At the very beginning, though, I was okay, this guy's got to do this, but he's a suit wearer. And so my fear is that I really do believe all presidents and all politicians are complete psyop. They're chosen just like Miss America. It's all rigged. In fact, Donald Trump said elections could be rigged when he was at that boxing. And they use it to try to change socioeconomic expectations. It's a problem that creates. If she has a house or if she has an apartment, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Well, then you're safe. For me, I don't know where that's at, and I don't live in Honolulu. I do business there sometimes. Again, she's become a pawn of these reporters that this is actually the very information they don't want to touch because they know it's real. And you look at that TPO there, this is stuff she's gotten from the real reporters there, that you just look at it, you know it. And I'm gonna look, and you're gonna look at it, you're gonna know what it is. It is what it is. Well, I'm gonna die here in the streets of poverty and no plastic surgery and no suit, just so keenly aware of how middle class Juan, the humble NMLS licensed mortgage lender Juan, the Mexican that has to be humble, that has to look like Mr. Rogers in his picture, that this is a father like everyone else, that this is someone that has wisdom to pass down to your children. La raza, no, thank you, no. So I'm not going to die that way, because they wheelchaired me through the wall, and that's the next thing I want to get to. which is I make strategic decisions about what to put on my LinkedIn, the education to have, the knowledge to have, the markets to serve. And everyone in this town was below average in terms of what kind of agents they were. You started to see education levels increase. Not only at Nevada Realty, this office where I love the broker there, by the way. By the way, I put up a picture of me wearing that jacket. So I talk about I want to wear a suit. Sometimes you got to have a dive bar experience. In fact, even wearing suits sometimes. These education levels started to go up, and you started to see more people with MBAs. You started to see more people with bachelor's degrees brought on, not only to that office that love these people so very much, even the people that, because they must have been under mind control themselves. That's an interesting possibility to look at. But like I said to Courtney, and this is the truth, we're on, this is the thing with Lauren Taruya. I have this theory that Lauren Taruya is the one that they're protecting with this. Maybe it's not about the reality. I have this information, but it must be, because there's a few other reporters that got a hold of that. And she's this Courtney Teague that's grabbing my stuff about wheelchair through walls and windows. Now, it's not like I'm incessantly sending them emails. And by the way, speaking of Ms. MailChimp, she can't just press the unsubscribe button. Remains the #1 thing in all of this. But she's grabbing this from the legit reporters there that are giving it to her and saying, yeah, this is why we need to. And she's saying she has ammo from the past. We've been in communication, and she's a colleague. She will always be a friend in a perfect universe. When I talked about, Plato coming down in Aristophanes' clouds from here I come to save the day, and there's this place where there's this picture, and I'm in that picture, and I talked about it in Once I Was a Reporter. This is why they're targeting me too. You need to be on the poor person that gets help from his family. Matthew Vasconcelos. By the way, it's not. That's the thing with it. You get a situation like that. Oh, because he looks sometimes a little, and he's improving because of the fact that he got to fuck Tiffany Tanaka in public. The more you use your penis in women like that, the more it changes your DNA. The more it. So that's why I talk about late in life development tracks. That what they did was look at that video of her being crowned Miss Hawaii. Either everyone was bending their knees and she was hyperextending. She's 5'8", according to Miss Teen Hawaii profile, and she was 16, I believe, at that time, 16 or 17, or a little younger. So usually she must have grown very tall, much taller since she was Miss Teen Hawaii. She's very tall. By the way, that's the thing with it. For someone like me, when I choose the wife out of the catalog, that's why I'm no threat to her, really. I mean, I talk about beat Miss America, but I want her to be maybe 2 or 3 inches shorter than I am, since I'm business. You know what I mean? So if she's 6'1", we can already cancel. I'll cancel the whole thing. That I'm not gonna try to stalk her for purposes of if she becomes Miss America. Learn to her very beautiful. She is Alice Kinnian, right? In my world of literature, in my world of the story of everything, and a retard becoming a genius, like David Shank talking about Ted Williams Field over there, right here in San Diego, and that amazing scene with the father and the son, and this symbolism of what he was touching, perhaps subconsciously, or what he, for purposes of it not being necessary for the book, omitted from the genius in all of us, was that's how social heredity, that is about genetic heredity, right? So anyway, you're gonna go now. We're gonna talk about this. Courtney Teague's a complete liar, and she's a pawn, but there's a lot of things here. That's why we need answers. We need our Brian Black to go into court and clear that, get rid of it. When they have that come up, immediately just get rid of it, so that now we need to defend Matthew or Sue, and that's why I said Jeffrey Portnoy needs to be the one to do it, because open and shut the case. Because you look at this, and for once, look at the situation she's created for the industry, where now people that are trying to tip reporters, and so it proves it. They don't all want to go on the record, or they don't even want to hit the unsubscribe button. And they just want to do this. And I'm supposed to look at that, and I'm supposed to interpret it and be like, you know what this is? Well, I'm not going to be killed in the streets, having been wheelchaired, because that's what they did. So what I did was, in a town like this, people are not very good at CMA. I mean, they do the job. But I was among the few that went in. I said, I don't really like these designations, badges. It's CIM commercial. That's a realtor world. Why don't you just go work at CBR? SRS. This is like, okay, I don't even have a PhD, but I can act like I'm a professor, and I can put all these things on my business card. Realtor, put the registered trademark symbol, comma, and then all these other you know, like, yeah, the universities confer this degree. Okay, I mean, I don't. By the way, I love the union, the trade union, National Association of Realtors, like I said, and I make jokes about it. I talked about in my first, by the way, that first video. That's really where I sort of laid the foundation for my take on the union. Ted Federowitz, of all people, the great educator of real estate in Las Vegas, he would make fun of Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors as gay bar. It was GLVAR before it became LVR, and I got to bear witness to a lot of history there. But he said he would always say, you got to go to the girls at gay bar, and you know, we all kind of knew it's a gay bar. That's the thing with it, though. So we're gonna fight Courtney Teague. We're gonna have Jeffrey Portnoy in, open shutty the case, because this is creating a situation where now, in order to defend all of Hawaii media and the constitutional rights of people to be whistleblowers, we now have Matthew Ursua, the one that Lauren Taruya understandably would have to have for Miss America staff, get out of the way by using a pond that supposedly had ammo. It's not true. And get him out of the way for her, when in reality, if she's 6'1" or 6'2", but look at that video, it says something. By the time she was 15 or 16, and we got to look at the timeline, we got to put all this together. This is something I think you all need to look into, because you may not have noticed it. And I'm going to put the timeline together today on it about how tall she might be, that she's perhaps through medication, or because she's a rich family, or because she has a certain kind of mind that was perfect for an extended adolescence, an extended childhood. Now she's mentally sharp, and it's because they did it a lot earlier for her. Perhaps maybe there's a delayed puberty aspect to this with her, where the reason she has such a growth spurt after Miss Teen Hawaii is because she had that delayed for some reason. I don't know what it is exactly, but there's something to it, because she's not 5'8", but if she's 6'1", then we definitely ruled that out anyway. That I'll be trying to, if I go to Hawaii to make money, you know, get Miss Chinatown, Miss Hawaii, you know, pursuing the Miss America crown, because he needs to be a couple inches shorter than me. That's just reality. And you know, someone in the military can have that. Someone, you know, in Air Force, or they can have Miss Hawaii, no problem. Just like, you know, someone, Air Force Colonel, snatched up Stephanie Lum, the beautiful Chinese KHNL. She comes in and she's the look of fate Yanagi. Lauren Taruya is the real look of fate Yanagi. Actually, she's a classic teacher. She looks like the classic teacher you've had in elementary school since the eternal kindergarten teacher, the eternal 6th grade teacher, you know, maybe middle school. That's what Lauren Taruya looks like. She's classic. She's classic Hawaii. Love the look of her, actually. But it's like I said, because I grow spurt, we can rule her out. Don't worry about me stalking her. And Miss Kinnian, Alice Kinnian from Flowers for Algernon. You know, she's Miss Kinnian. So anyway, we fuck up Miss Courtney. We fuck up all of these people that are using this. We're going to expose the Miss America conspiracy. We're going to expose the reality that was wheelchaired through walls and windows this way. Quiet enjoyment of what you have. Defend more than you have. This is what they're not doing to protect rich family. One thing is sure, that she, as Copycat Courtney, what is she copycatting? It's MailChimp. They're good at copycat, right? We all know that. I do MailChimp too, and I've got people in Delaware that handle mail. But let's look at this and be very, very honest. What's very clear, and you can't argue with, is she is a rich family protector. But I would have had, despite the reality of an oversaturated industry of real estate agents, I would have had 10x the income, 10x the commissions, 10x the closed deals because I make strategic decisions when it comes to what to put out. I talked about changing the ed history when I was talking up, telling Courtney, Copycat Courtney, she's really Copycat Courtney. She wants to put herself into the show. She's just a sideshow, but I had no choice but to give it to her. We knew it, and so we can all let her enjoy it now. That she's the sideshow, that she's Copycat Courtney Teague, Honolulu civil beat, total liar. You look at that TPO that they're pushing through in the Honolulu successful. Oh, I'm so happy for you. Like she even lives there, like she even owns a home there, like she's. Oh yeah, this is important. So we're gonna get to PSA, pricing strategy advisor. I've taken the plunge and do that. So we learned a lot of things. We put in our comparative market analysis of things like absorption rate, right? So what was happening was these voices through the wall what it said as there's subaudible beneath the audible, and it's based on psychology. So I have all this knowledge going through my head. I'm doing the best CMAs in town when I'm about to go in there and do listening presentations, and I'm talking about things that are it really gave me a competitive edge. So again, I'm not saying Graduate Realtor Institute is a bad thing, but this gave me a competitive edge because everyone else is just simple, quick CMA in the matrix system. I really go in, I really look at it. I really look at all of the things we're supposed to look at, to pull the data from the assessor's office, and go in there and even eyeball, look at all the photos of the sold comps. These are things that I would do for my people, because the more you have together, the better it looks. And you've got now an argument that you have for the buyer side, if you're taking a listing, for why the price we're asking is damn good. You always want to come out of the starting gate with the right price, but the concept of absorption rate, for instance, they wheelchaired my understanding of it before it could solidify. Things take time to solidify in a person's brain. Lauren Torrio, of all people, the Yolani graduate, the teacher, the Miss Kenyon, would understand that. It's different rates for most people, but it isn't until you begin to apply knowledge. It isn't until you begin to take something that's in theory and put it into practice that it's something that solidifies in your brain. If you don't use it for a prolonged period of time, you're going to lose it. And if you're at the outset of losing it, if they're constantly doing things to you like that, like the Levitt Brigade wheelchairing you through walls and windows in public and restaurants, mental manipulation, not giving you the key to block that stimuli out, and then also interfering with your ability to solidify the what I call realtor economics. This isn't BS econ from Wharton level stuff, but this is basic economics, supply and demand, and your ability to solidify that knowledge in your head. Take away your ability to practice it, and take away your ability to put on your CMA's stuff in there, the verbal, the narrative. I mean, you're not an appraiser, you're never an appraiser. You put down there, this is not an appraisal, but to put a little narrative, different in the world of appraisal in there, that becomes an argument for the buyer side, for why you're starting at the right price, why this is what you should pay if they want to go into negotiations. And in all fairness, in practice, the markets are different to these folks. Yes, the market at the time, now things did change. Agents were starting to see multiple offer scenarios when the market was going up. We broke the $400,000 single family home barrier, right? At the outset of COVID-19, and then about a year into it, everyone was stuck at home. Quarantine was anyway. Everyone has to go out with masks. Now people can get on airplanes again, and we broke through the 400,000 barrier. So things did change, and it was a period of time where I, especially as a buyer genius, this is what people don't realize on the other side of the table, that's among the most impressive things I can do with these folks. But it would have been an incredible time to get into it, especially in it. But when I put all that work into that, and it was a market where we're perhaps eyeing a transition right now to buyer time coming back up, as stability is giving way to maybe some prices going down across the country in certain markets, and that by and large being the trend. It's buyer time. This is a buyer market. But I lost out on $120,000, and we're gonna price this out. We're gonna look at it. We can prove it based on track record and based on even just 10%. It's a 10% thing. It's a 1 out of 10 postcards gets a hit by and large. And even if you cut that in half, $120,000, what I had by now just on the listings, closed listings, if these people hadn't wheelchaired my ability to do, like, you look at these psychologists that do reports on people for IEP in the school system, speaking of Lauren Torrio, and psychologists that do make sure that you're sane enough to stand trial, for instance, lawyer strategy in some cases, and they talk to you, and then they put all this text on paper, and they go to school, and the district, so they get the best psychologists, and they put all this text on paper, and it's based on all the stuff, the PhD, and some of them are nowadays even let people with PsyDs do it. These are people that take the templates of the PhD people, C, B, T, and the people like a card, A, B, A, card under, of all places, T Insurance in La Mesa, that building right by the trolley station, the Orange Line in El Cajon. And they're idiots, But they let them do the put all the text on paper, and now they want to take away my ability to put all the text on paper to impress you, to show you how much I know about your place and how quality I'm going to be representing it. We put it on the MLS, and so that they now can be the ones to put all this text on paper, and they take away my ability to put all this text on paper to impress you, to be the one that really comes out at you. You're one of these people that wants to hire multiple agents. Vegas was a great market because it's eclectic. There's a lot of markets where it's done this way, it's done that way. Someone's gonna, especially in places where the median home price tends to be higher, there's more multi-generational wealth. And yes, this is true in places where the correlation is, or rather, by and large, where lawyers instead of title and escrow companies handle transactions or transfers of ownership. That's where you see more exclusivity in the world of brokerage. But Vegas, you saw it all. We can do it any way we want to, pretty much. Just whatever you want to do, what makes you feel better about it, and what I advise you is the best way to get your home sold. But we can grab from all of these different traditions and bring it in to get the best result for you. All right, so you're gonna wheelchair me so that you and continue to wheelchair me? No. And then tell me that the reporters don't want to touch it and get FOIA documents that are going to the building blocks in what they're doing, which is try to keep me my socioeconomic class when I'm a genius and I meant to be a billionaire in my lifetime. Why am I not wearing a suit?